Hola, buenos dias. This is Kai Pacho with the weekly Pele Report. And this one is for May 21st of 2014. Can you believe it? Ay, ay, ay. May 21st. Time is flying by. What do we got going on here? We've got the moon. The sun has just gone into Gemini yesterday. And today we're having the third quarter square moon. So the moon just went into Pisces. It's going to be there for a few days, and then it's going to move, farther into Aries. We're going to have it triggering that grand cross that's been going on through the month of April, and then by next week it's going to move on through Sunday into Taurus, and we'll have that new moon next week. But there's other things going on that I want to talk about today. This main thing I'm going to talk about is phases, and I'm going to do a whole video on phases for the community. But today we want to talk about whether it's the phases of the moon, or phases of other planets, or the seasons of the year. All of evolution and all of growth moves and transforms through cycles, and these cycles have definite demarcations. The seed, the sprout, the fruit, the death and the seed, dropping the seeds and letting go, and then coming around, for the next season. So we can look at this socially, personally, in relationships, with businesses, countries, nations, everything. All of evolution moves through these different cycles. So I do these reports weekly. And they have a lot to do then, of course, with the weekly. I look at the moon, and I look at some other cycles that are going on. But this week we have Jupiter trine Saturn. And this is approximately a 20-year cycle. And so we have to go back if we want to really understand some of what's going even on this week. We have to go back because astrology shows us that there are cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. So we have a great cycle going on. The Uranus square Pluto, the 26,000-year cycle that, culminated on 12/21. And we have these other cycles going on. But let's look at this 20-year cycle of Jupiter and Saturn, because they are exactly trine this week. And that starts out, it's the second trine. It's actually 240 degrees, but it was in July of the year 2000. Stretch your mind a little bit. If you can remember that far back, we had Jupiter conjunct Saturn, and then it's come all the way around, yes. And, they were in opposition with each other, a few years ago, and now they are in trine again. Okay, so we have the conjunction, which is the seed. And let's look at Jupiter and Saturn. This is just like so perfect for what is going on now, what I'm doing with this links page, because Jupiter, Saturn has to do with our social integration. Yeah. Jupiter is the new, it's the expansive, it's the future. We're all about, this is new paradigm astrology. We want to bring in the new. Zeus overthrew his father Saturn. So this is, Jupiter coming around. This Jupiter, Saturn is the establishment. It's the patriarchy. It's the old ways of doing things and business as usual and order and form and structure. And Jupiter, they come together every 20 years. In fact, in the United States, it coincided with an assassination of a president, a death of a president in office. Every 20 years was happening with this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and it's very powerful. So this is the old making way for the new, and the new seeking to overthrow or influence or bring in some new social order. So this happens, like I say, in June of 2000 was one, and that was an election year in the United States. But worldwide and also personally, Where that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction fell in Taurus, in your birth chart, okay, that is a seed. A seed was sown in that house and sign and aspect in your chart, and now it's coming around. And what's beautiful about the trine, this 240-degree trine, is that the first half of the cycle, say from 2000 to 2010, the first half of the cycle is I have to get my personal purpose, my new business, my new office, my new being, right? My new identity, my new family. I need to get this personally together. And then from 2010 to 2020, we're in this second half of the Jupiter-Saturn cycle. And that half is presenting, integrating my personal new purpose, new business, new family, new identity into the social structure, into the social order. And so this is a particular time now in the trine that this is a beautiful, smooth, easy time for us to integrate our new implementations, our innovations, our inventions, our communities, our ideas, our books, our music. This is a time, a trine says that society is not going to feel threatened. Other people are, it's like a smooth, inroads. Or, outroads, but this is really a time of understanding, how we can best fit in without scaring people, without creating opposition, without, needing revolution, but how we can smoothly transition from the old into the new. And this trine, it's part of a grand trine, and Chiron, I did a whole video on this grand trine of Chiron, Jupiter, Saturn, for my community last week. But this grand trine in water, it's Cancer to Scorpio, right? It's so perfect because it's bringing in feeling, emotion, intuition. It's bringing up the feminine. These are the water signs, and so this is just it's a very beautiful time. Now the Sun, in the meantime, has gone into Gemini. And this is now an interesting aside to that. Think of that. Okay, there's that underlying platform of the Jupiter trine Saturn. On top of that kind of stage or platform, we now have a third quarter square moon today. Yeah? The third quarter square in the phasal relationship between the sun and the moon has to do with a crisis in consciousness. Yes, it's a square, it's not a trine. Okay, this is where the moon is. You see a half moon out there. And it has gone all the way around 270 degrees, and it's a third quarter square, which means that for 2 weeks we had the solar eclipse. It was a new moon. Yeah, if you recall, that new moon was on April 28th. We had the eclipse, the new moon. 2 weeks. Now, the moon is doing subjective, inner, personal stuff, and then, as of last week, we had that full moon, and now it's moved up into this third quarter square. That third quarter square says, you know what? You've gone as far as you can go. Yeah, that's the top. If you start at the horizon and go all the way around, it's Capricorn, it's the 10th house, it's the 270-degree square. And it's time to begin. Now you've had your trine, and you've influenced, and you've integrated into society, and it's time to start deconditioning, stepping out, stepping back, and looking forward to the new cycle. So with the sun moon, this is our powerful lights, the inner and the outer, the consciousness and the unconscious subconsciousness. Yes, the feeling and the head and the heart. And so when we come around to this third quarter square, this involves that crisis in consciousness is letting go of everything that I have accomplished, everything that I've done, everything that I am in these last 3 weeks. Since that eclipse, it's like, okay, I did, I started this, I did that, I feel that, we talked about this, we had this conversation with my sweetheart or whatever. And now that 3 weeks is, okay, I don't care how big you are or how wonderful it is, it's time to look towards the next and let go and decondition, step out of that old way of doing, of being, and prepare for the new moon. In this case, the new moon is going to be coming next week. You see how that works? I hope I explained it clear enough. So it's interesting to be with the Jupiter-Saturn trine and this moon coming around for the third quarter square. This is all kind of objective, social integration into something bigger, wider, broader. It's objective. It's not so subjective. It's kind of a time to get over our own little stuff and connect and change and initiate and invent and innovate, yes, in the greater, bigger, wider, broader context of society and planetary consciousness. Which brings me to the announcement of, thanks to Jeannie, my right arm lady, she just has put together all of these links that people have been sending in a couple weeks ago. I asked for, if you're part of new technology, new community, new permaculture, new paradigm, initiatives, that I wanted to make a link on my website, New Paradigm Astrology. You can go there now, and it's fascinating. Yeah, she did this whole thing. You can do a search, to whatever you're into, love, sex, money, rock and roll, whatever, you just type in your search. I'm searching for a community that's blah, 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 blah. Or I want to feed, hungry people. I want to build new, architecture. And, it goes through, and there's all these links of all these amazing people doing amazing things. So now nobody has an excuse for hanging back, for holding on to the past, secure, jobs, social status, check, weekly paychecks or whatever. It's like, come on. It's perfect for the Jupiter trine Saturn, It's like, yeah, it's happening. We're going to make it happen. It's not happening by itself. Yeah. Collectively, we are ready on a spiritual. For more, it's more conscious, and others, it's more subconscious, and for some, it's completely unconscious. But let's say planet Earth is ready for the shift into a new paradigm, human consciousness. So, the mantra for this week then is fear wants to know before I go what I'm headed for. But when one in mind, heart, and soul, I sail through open doors. It's when we get into ego, get into separation, get into us and them, get into I, me, my, and I need to survive and protect myself and that we question and we doubt and we want proof, and our goals have to be, attainable and logical before we spend the money or take the chance or make the risk. And we get into fear and we get into doubt and we need proof and we need security. But you just think of, when you meditate and when you're in that state of bliss and you open that crown chakra and you're in your yogi or your yogini state of awareness, it's all. And your mind is one with your heart, which is one with your soul, and you just know. You just know. We all know what's right, what we need to do, where we need to go, who we need to be with. You know what you need. You talk yourself, your mind, your mental jibber-jabber confuses you. You know through your feelings, through your gut, through your heart, through your soul, You got to turn off that mind. Still the mind. And you will know. And then you have to trust that knowing, that intuition, that feeling. Because that is you. That is your core. That is your truth. And you trust that, and then you're in alignment. Then you're one. And you sail. And shit happens. It just goes down. It moves. It shifts. Like a Jupiter trine Saturn. Yeah? So now the sun's going into Gemini for a month. It's time to network and communicate and, follow those links and you do your social networking and get all your people together. And, yeah. Fear wants to know before I go what I'm headed for. But when one in mind, heart and soul, I sail through open doors. May you sail through open doors this week and forever. Namaste. Aloha. So much love. Did you see those bananas back there? Got some bananas happening. Yeah. All right, how do I turn this thing off?